We're going to continue laying in the foundation of our sequence, and here we're going to do that using insert edits. I'm going to go into my 3.5 bin, and I'm going to go into sequence and Built by Life rough assembly. I'll load that. The rough assembly is the stage of the edit that we're at. We're sort of roughing everything in, figuring out the order of things, kind of like our first draft. Later, we'll refine that, and that will be called our rough cut. All right, so far we've just done drag and drop editing. I'll go ahead and play this to remind us of everything we've done.
When you're on the land and you're farming, your life is full. My name is Vince McIntyre. I'm a farmer and I do woodworking, a jack of all trades.
So rather than continue editing through drag and drops, I want to teach you how to use the keyboard. It will make you a faster and more efficient editor. I'm going to go into my master clips bin, and I want to load this clip first. All right, so I've got that loaded in the source monitor, and I've got my transcript window opened up beside it. I configured that earlier in the chapter. Okay, so I think I want most of the first part of this clip. I'm going to just play it.
You know, when I hit my mid-40s, I decided, this work that I'm doing is totally meaningless to me, going out there and putting 3 bags on and making a bunch of money.
All right, that's where I wanted to stop. I wanted to go from the very beginning of this to making a bunch of money. All right, and when I select that, you can see that it sets my in and my out point in my source monitor. Rather than dragging and dropping, I want to use an insert edit. The on-screen command for the insert edit is right here, and it corresponds to the comma key. The only thing I need to do in the timeline is just put my playhead where I want that insert edit to be placed. Now, I happen to be at the end of the sequence here, but if I need to quickly get to the end of the sequence, I can use my down arrow key to get there, or I can use the end key on the keyboard, and I'm all set up. I have my playhead where I want the edit to go, and I've marked my in and my out point, and I'm just simply going to press comma. And then I'm going to come to the end of this clip. Let me play this about right here.
I decided I'm going to try not to have to do this. And that's when I decided to farm.
All right. I'm going to grab all of this and bring that down. And so I'll press comma. All right. So I've just laid in 2 segments, one after another, and I'll play over this.
When I hit my mid-40s, I decided, this work that I'm doing is totally meaningless to me, going out there and putting 3 bags on and making a bunch of money. I decided I'm going to try not to have to do this. And that's when I decided to farm.
All right, so the rough assembly, we're roughing that in. We might have to make a few trims later to smooth that out, but for right now, I'm happy with that. I'm going to load this second clip here, Vince Do Things by Hand. And I think we want most of this one. Let's play.
I've always kind of pushed myself, pretty hard. And I've always believed in doing things by hand.
Yes, so I want all of that. We'll go ahead and select that. And my in and my out point are set in my source monitor. The insert command is also in the transcript window. And we've laid that in. And I believe this last clip here, Tradition is the Good Way, will finish our thought. And I'm going to play this.
So that's why I have this thing for traditional ways, not just to say, well, that's the old way, I mean, to me, that's often the good way,
So let's grab that from the beginning of That's Why, and then all the way to the end, and we'll insert that. All right, so I think we've got this roughed in pretty well. I'll go ahead and play over these next 2 shots to make sure we're happy with it.
That's when I decided to farm. I've always kind of pushed myself, pretty hard, and I've always believed in doing things by hand. That's why I have this thing for traditional ways, not just to say, well, that's the old way, I mean, to me, that's often the good way.
All right. So far, we have just been laying clips in one after another so that the playhead is always at the end. But what if you want to place clips in between clips? Let's take a look at that. I think I have this shot here, Vince introduction, and we've had him introducing himself, but then there is a portion at the end of this where he talks about the first time that he set up camp. Let's find where we want that to go. I'm going to play over these few shots here, and I think it's probably going to be at the end of this series.
I'm a farmer, and I do woodworking, a jack of all trades. When I hit my mid-40s.
Okay, so I want it to go right here. We know that to move the playhead in between 2 clips, I can use my up and down arrow keys, so I can press up. You can also shift drag. So if I hold down shift and then drag the playhead, it will snap to that location. Okay, and so now I'm going to find the moment that I want to insert, and I believe we want most of the beginning of this section here. I've lived here since 1979. I found this place by accident and decided to camp here. Okay, so we've marked that portion. There's an in and an out. I'm going to go ahead and just press comma and watch what happens. This segment is going to be inserted at this point in the sequence. All right, perfect. And I think the last little thing that I need is for him to say 30 years later, still here. Okay, so I've marked that. We have an in and an out point set, and my playhead is in the right location. So I'm just going to, again, press comma to insert. And let's play over that and make sure that we're happy with it.
I've lived here since 1979. I found this place by accident and decided to camp here 30 years later. Still here. You know, when I rate.
All right, good enough for now. For the rough assembly, we're just looking to get things in the right order. We will refine it later in the editing process. Now, there is just one more thing that I want to show you with regard to the track selectors. Right now, I have the video and audio from the source side, represented by these two track selectors here, being edited to video and audio on the timeline side. Okay, so this is patched correctly. I want to show you what happens if you only want to edit in video or only want to edit in audio. I'm going to just deselect audio here, and then if I press comma, you can see that it only makes a video edit. Let me reverse that. I'll now just select audio, and I'll insert, I'll press comma, and it's just an audio edit. So if we want video and audio, we want to make sure to select them both, and I'll insert edit with comma, and there we go. And another thing I want to draw your attention to is that right now they're patched V1 to V1 and A1 to A1. Sometimes you want the video to go to V2 or the audio to go to A2, and that's just a matter of bringing them up. So I'll go ahead and click up here, and now V1 is patched to V2 and A1 to A2, and watch what happens when I perform an insert edit with the tracks patched this way. All right, so we have our video on V2 and our audio on A2. It doesn't make sense in this workflow. We want all of our interview footage to be on V1 and A1, but remember this because we will be building more complex sequences. But for now, let's delete all of those. So as you can see, we're able to build our sequence relatively quickly using insert edits. Laying the clips is the first step. Once you've edited them, it's time to start moving and tweaking and adding to it, which we'll continue to do in the next few movies.